Welcome, everybody. If you're just joining us, please put your name and where you're joining us from on the comment section. Welcome, guys. So, my name is Gina, and it's so good to have you all here. So, today I'll be talking about how to price your goods accurately to avoid losses. So, we are looking to learn how to understand cost breakdowns, how to avoid pricing pitfalls, and also how to maximize profitability. So, we know that oftentimes, if we do not know how to, cost our goods properly, if we are having issues with cost or we forget to add some certain things, on the long run we begin to make losses that we're not even aware of until maybe later we're trying to calculate or trying to put in one or two and we are lost, right? So it is very important for us to be able to price our goods accurately because it will ensure that our business is sustainable and also we're able to make profit. It will also prevent, underpricing. We won't run into losses, especially when maybe a particular good is supposed to be sold at 200 naira or it's supposed to be sold at 50 cedis, and because you couldn't price your goods properly, you're selling it lesser. It's a lot of loss and it's a lot of stress, so I can imagine how that will be. It also prevents overpricing so that you will not end up having fewer sales, like just very few people will patronizing you because you are overpricing your goods. So it's very important that you learn how to price your goods accurately. So we have key factors that affect our pricing of these goods. So the first one is the supply chain cost. So supply chain cost can either be like your importation cost, procurement cost, everything that has to do with like you buying, shipping, and all of that. Custom tax, yada yada yada, like that. So we have like a lot of that in the supply chain cost. Then we have competition. Competition also, affects the pricing. Maybe someone who is selling that same product is selling at the rate of 50 CDs or is selling at the rate of 1,500 naira, right? And you know how much you bought this product. You know that, oh, I bought this product very expensive. I cannot afford to sell it at that price. Or I bought it cheaper. So how do I sell it? Do I sell it like way cheaper than what that person is selling? So it also affects the cost pricing of our goods. Then we have demand. Oftentimes if you see how Apple always price their product. They price it based on demand, because when you have like iPhone 15 just come out, because they know that people would want to buy this product, right? Because it's like the latest as the gigs. People are talking about it, yeah. They increase the prices of these things. Or you just like I'm trying to, it's not like the old demand and supply thing here. When something is very scarce, you know how scarcity can be in the market. Because this particular thing is very scarce, I increase my price because I know that everybody would want to get it. Everybody will want, that particular product. So based on demand, I can increase my price. And if it's like everywhere, it's not very scarce, I can also reduce my price because I want to sell it out. So these factors affect the pricing of our goods. So we need to understand our costs. So we have like the direct cost, like I mentioned earlier, which has to do with like the cost of goods, the shipping fees, procurement fees, all of the fees joined together, all of those small costs that you have to like join together to just achieve one cost. That is what that direct cost is. Then we have the indirect cost, maybe in terms of marketing. Maybe you're marketing your product, you are running ads online. You even have like a social media manager managing your page, or even have to like go extra length depending on the kind of business you have. Maybe you have to go extra length to talk to people, to create flyers, to have logos, post it, pay money for this, or even to pay for storage. We have like businesses where we have to like, pay for our shops, right? Or even pay for a space where we can keep our goods. Then we have overhead expenses. We also have hidden costs like the transaction fees. those transaction fees that we have, maybe when we're transferring money and we see that money is just going out. We have like, maybe you're transferring maybe like 500,000, and you see that you already have like a transaction fee that is attached to that. Those are hidden costs. You cannot allow them sway away because that is money. So you have to consider all those transaction fee, currency exchange. You're buying at the rate of maybe you're buying RMB today at 214 because currently RMB is 214 naira. So, and before you know, in less than few hours, you're already seeing 220, right? So you need to consider all of this, right? You need to consider your tax. If you're paying tax in your country for your business, you need to consider all of this and be able to incorporate all of them into your cost of goods. So we have three common pricing methods. We have the cost plus pricing, which has to do with like markup to your cost price. So this markup is like the percentage you might want to just, add to the total, like to your cost price. You just add it. Maybe it could be like 50%, 20%. That's just the markup. It's just normal markup. I'm thinking like, oh, between this range and this range, this is the particular percentage I want to add to my goods. Then we have competitive pricing, setting prices based on the market rate. Because at the end of the day, you would not want to sell something too expensive that is way different from what people are selling in the market. And you will not also want to sell it way lesser than what is in the market. There are some products that can range between a particular amount to another, like to a particular amount. So your price can be in between. It can be low, it can be at the highest point, or it can even be in between. That is the market rate. So it's very important that you can set your prices, based on the market rate. We also have the value based pricing, which is the pricing based on perceived customer value, right? You know how valuable this particular thing is. Like I mentioned earlier about Apple product, right? How because of the value of that product, the name, the brand, and every other thing, a lot of people would want to buy it because they feel that this is luxury, right? Or you're buying designers, you want to sell Fendi, you want to sell Louis Vuitton, you want to sell big brands like that. There is a value that has been perceived or that has been placed on such products, right? So you can actually price those goods based on the value. So even if you're buying that thing, as far as you know that this is the original product and you bought it cheap, but there's a perceived value, and if it's not giving that particular perceived value, people will think your product is fake. All right, so we have pricings that can be like that. So these are like the three common pricing methods: the cost plus pricing, competitive pricing, and the value based pricing, based on the niche and also based on the kind of business and the kind of customers that you have. If you're looking at affordable products or you're looking at luxury products, you have to be able to implement the right type of pricing method. So I'll be doing a practical pricing formula, right? And I'll be using the first one that I mentioned, which is the cost plus pricing. So we have like the total cost, which is the product cost plus that's the shipping fee or shipping cost, plus your procurement fee and every other cost. Every other cost maybe might be custom in cases where you have to clear your goods yourself. It could even be your transportation from the warehouse to your location, all of those extra costs that come in between. Then we have the selling price, which is the total cost price multiplied by 1 plus the desired profit margin. So yeah, so this is the pricing breakdown. So the first step is to know the price of your product. So you're buying from a supplier or you're using the buy for me on Proc 360 and you get your invoice. All right. So there is a price, which is the price of that particular item. So we have the price of that item plus the express fee to the warehouse. On some occasions where the supplier is not giving you like a free express fee to the warehouse, you are charged at a particular amount of money to get your items to the warehouse. So the first step is to calculate the price of the item plus the express fee to the warehouse. So I just used A1 to identify it, right? So the second step is to calculate the service charge, which is the procurement fee, if you have a procurement agent that is buying for you and you're being charged for it, right? So you now have to multiply the service charge by does A1. So I changed it to A1. I mistakenly used Q, but yeah, A1. So you have to multiply the service charge by A1 to give you A2. So the service charge can be 5%, 3%, 7%, 8%, 10%, depending on what you're being charged. So that is what you multiply by the total amount of goods, that total price of goods, that has to do with like the price of the item and the express fee to the warehouse. That's to give you the A2. So the third step, that's after you have gotten like the price of the item and the service fee, you now add the weight of the item, which could be in kg, right? The weight of the item multiplied by the transport to the warehouse fee, because oftentimes you have to transport those goods from the warehouse to the airport or to the seaport before it is shipped to your location. So you multiply that and it gives you A3. Then we have the fourth step, which is the international shipping. It could be in kg or cbm multiplied by the rate to give you A4. So the final calculation will now be A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus A4 to give you the total landed cost. All right, so this is an example of a very realistic calculation so that we're not just, saying things on top of our heads. So if an item price costs 500 RMB and the supplier's express fee is 12 RMB, you are being charged at the rate of 5% for that item or for your order, right? And the express fee from the warehouse to the airport is 3 RMB per kg. Then the item weight is 15 kg. The volume of the weight, in case maybe you don't want to use weight, you want to use volume, that is 0.1 cbm. The sea shipping rate is 1,500 RMB per cbm, and the air shipping rate is 60 RMB per kg. So our first step is to calculate that's the price of the item and the supplier express fee. So that's the first one, number one here, which is 500 RMB plus 12 RMB to give us 512 RMB. Then the second step is to calculate the service charge, right? We are going to that means we're not going to be using like the percentage, that we have like a realistic amount so that we can, add it to the prices to get the total landed cost. So we have to now do the 0.05, which is 5%. When you divide 5% divided by 100, you get 0.05. So 0.05 multiplied by 512 RMB will give us 25.6 RMB. So that is the service fee for this particular item. Okay, so the third one, which is transportation from the warehouse to the airport or seaport, is going to be 15 kg, right? 15 kg here, multiplied by 3 RMB to give us 45 RMB. So the transportation to the airport will cost rather 45 RMB. So now that you have, gotten that price, the price of the goods that's with the express fee, you have gotten the service fee, and you have gotten the transportation to the airport. Now you have to now calculate the shipping fee. Okay, so maybe you've already transported your goods, or your goods has already been shipped to your country, and you have gotten your shipping bill. You know that 0.1 cbm will now be multiplied by 1,500, which is the rate per cbm, which will give you 150 RMB. So you're paying 150 RMB for zero point 0.1 CBM. If you're going to be using air shipping, it will be 15 kg, because air is normally done in kg. Why for sea shipping, it's the volumetric weight, which is CBM. So you now multiply 15 by 60, which is the shipping fee. So to give us 900 RMB for air shipping, depending on the particular option you are using. So the total landed cost for sea shipping will now be 512 plus 25.6 plus 45 RMB plus 150 RMB to give us a total landed cost of 732.6 RMB. So if you're going to be using sea shipping for that particular item. Then we have the total landed cost for air shipping to be 512 plus 25.6 plus 45 plus 900 to give 1,482.6 RMB. You can see the difference. I know last week we spoke about choosing the right shipping method for your business, and I believe this, once you've seen this particular calculation, you already know what you're supposed to do. You already know the ideal thing you're supposed to do to be able to make profit. So we have to note that this total landed costs can vary, right, depending on the weight or the volume of the particular item, and we have to be able to make decision based on cost effectiveness. We are business owners, so we would not want to run into losses. So we have to be able to, choose something that is going to be favorable, choose the right shipping method that is going to be favorable for us. So this is how you calculate the total landed cost. So now that you have calculated all of that, maybe your goods have already arrived, you've seen it, and you want to now calculate how to add your, profit and all of that. Like I said, the method we're using, the pricing method we're using is the cost plus pricing, which is the markup margin, just adding like a percentage to the total landed cost to be able to get the particular amount that we're going to sell it for. So the selling price will be equals to total landed cost price, right, multiplied by 1 plus the desired profit margin. I know that one, when we see 1 plus the profit, desired profit margin, why we are doing that is to ensure that we are adding the profit, that we are adding the profit percentage to the total cost price, rather than just calculating the profit amount separately. Because if we should just do total landed cost multiplied by that profit, we're only going to get the profit that we want to add. Then we'll not have to now start manually adding that particular amount to the item. Yeah. So we just merge, but that one just signifies that we're adding both that and the profit margin together. So we don't have to like start doing separate calculation. It's a lot of math. Sorry, guys. But yeah, we just, with one, you just keep you're keeping the original cost, and you're also adding the profit on top in one single step. We're not doing mathematics where they'll say, oh, we need to go step by step so that you get extra marks or something like that. We just go straight to the point, so we don't waste a lot of time while calculating. So let's say we have your desired profit margin is between 50% to 100%. You have already gone through the market, right? You've done your research, you've checked around, you've asked questions, and you fixed your profit margin to be the lowest you're adding percentage, desired profit margin of the desired percentage you are adding to the cost of your goods is 50%, and the highest is 100%. Some people can go as far as saying the lowest they are adding is 150%, the highest they are adding is 200, 250, depending on that particular item and what the market is saying, right? So let's say the first one, let's use 50%. We have, we're using the total landed cost for the sea shipping, right? So 732.6 RMB multiplied by 1 plus 0.5. 0.5 represents the 50%, which will now give us 1,098.9 RMB. That is the lowest amount we can charge for that particular item. Then we are going to do the 100%, which is going to be 732.6 RMB multiplied by 1 plus 1, which is 2, right? Because 100% of a particular thing is double. So if you now, that means we're now multiplying this cost, the total landed cost, by 2 to give us 1,465.2. So we already know that the lowest we can sell is this amount and the highest we can sell is that amount. So after we've done our research, right, we factored in the value of the product, we factored in what the competitors, or what our competitors, are selling, and all of that we've checked. And I say, oh, okay, I want to make my own 1,318.68. That's the amount I want to sell. Irrespective, that means I'm working within the profit margin, which is 50 to 100%. So I used the 80% as the profit margin I'm going to be using. That's my percentage profit. That's what I want to use, right? But I didn't put in all of the calculation here because it's going to be like a lot of work. So we have tools you can use for that. But if you want to calculate it manually, I could just say it. You already have like the 732.6 RMB. It's be multiplied by 1 plus X. Let's say the oh my god, I'm sounding like as if I'm writing exams in secondary school, but yeah. So we have 1 plus X. We're going to be putting X there because we don't know the percentage yet, but I already have it up off my head that, oh, I want to put my product at this price, which is 1,318.68. So it will be equals to 1,318.68. So at the end of the day, we are going to have 732.6 multiplied by 1x. 1x is x. So to now be 732.6x equals to 1,318.68. So the way they will say x times x, that math that we normally do. So we'll now say x will now be equals to this amount divided by, that's 1,318.68 divided by 732.6. That is what will give us 0.8, meaning we use the profit margin of 80%. It could be any profit margin within that particular profit margin that you have already settled in for your business. So when you calculate the profit that you're selling, that's minus the total landed cost, you now have a total profit of 586.08. So that's your profit. But it is important to note that before you just settle in that this is my profit, make sure that you have added everything you need to add. Make sure you've subtracted all things, extra cost and all of that, before you settle in that you've gotten your profit. Please just let me know if I'm too fast, if I need to come back. If you have questions, put it down on the comment section. If you have insights, you have other tips and tricks, you could also keep it for our QA, or you just put it on the comment section. So pricing mistakes we make. We have not factoring in all the costs. So sometimes we might forget something. So it's important as business owners, we have a book, or we have a journal, or we have something like documents where we can, keep all of these things in, all our records, put them in there. Then we also ignore currency fluctuations. Exchange rates, they're not always, they're not stable. It's shaking. So you always need to consider all of your currency fluctuations all the time. Do not ignore it so that you don't make losses. You don't run into losses at the end of the day. Another mistake we make is pricing is too low to compete. Guys, as much as you would want to get people to buy your product, do not sell it extremely cheaper than what they sell in the market. If I am seeing everywhere they are selling a particular item at the rate of 10 RMB, let's say 10 RMB, and I see only one store selling at the rate of 2 RMB, in my heart of hearts, I will think you're selling fake. All right. So make sure your pricing is not too low to compete with other people, because this is market. You need to be, you need to be able to up your game. You need to be able to, be at the top, follow trends, compete, fight your way in that market. So, also, another mistake we make is not reviewing and adjusting our prices regularly. We need to make calls, you need to be online, you need to follow the trends. If it's TikTok, you're always seeing all of these updates. Be there all the time. Ask questions. If you have a store in the market, ask questions. It's funny how sometimes I go to the market and almost all the shops that are selling that same product have the same price. I wonder how they do it sometimes. I don't even know if maybe they probably have a meeting and they just decide that, oh, this particular thing, this is the amount I'm going to be selling it. And they just make up their mind and they say, oh, yes, this is what I'm settling for. So it's very important for you to always review and adjust your price regularly so you don't run at loss. We know that sometimes you might get something way expensive and all of a sudden the price just drops. We know how it can be. Very important, sell out those goods at the rate you bought them, right? So but just make sure you are reviewing and adjusting your prices accordingly to what is in the market. So yeah, so additional tips, always track your cost and adjust pricing, like I said. Choose a pricing strategy that aligns with your business. I mentioned three: the cost plus, the value based, and the competitor based pricing. So choose the one that aligns with your business. If you're an affordable business, if you're a luxurious business, you have to know which particular pricing strategy aligns with you. So you can also use tools that could help you simplify this pricing. You see all of this maths that I did here. We have tools that can help you do all of that. You can use your Google Sheets or Excel for manual calculation if you're like very, very tech savvy and you know how to do that. We also have profit margin calculator online. You can just type it in, profit margin calculators. There are a lot of them. You could just try your hands on different ones to, get the particular one that will work for you, that's easy to understand also, so that you don't have to like get confused along the line. So yeah, that's that, guys, on today's training session. If you have questions, I'll just yeah, I'll turn on the mic. So if you have questions and you want to speak, you can just unmute and ask your question. If you don't want to speak and you have a question, you can just put it on the comment section. So if you have questions, you can drop it. If you have questions, you can just unmute and say something. Questions, guys. If you have anything to share, maybe there's something I might have missed out, you can also share it. If you feel that you have tips, you have tricks on how to go about this, just share it. Just tell us. Tell us. Questions, guys. Yes, you can. You can actually get a profit margin calculator on Play Store. You can also just get online in case. Uh, yes, and yes, there'll be a replay Well, that's I'm recording the session so we can have a replay maybe sometime later. But those that could not, join or joined us late will definitely get a replay. So questions, guys. You can unmute if you want to say anything. Feel free to talk to me. I'd like to hear your voices too. Okay. I say we don't have questions, but in case you have questions later, you can just put it on the community. I will attend to the questions as I see them. If you have anything, it does not necessarily have to be on this particular topic. If you have other things you need assistance with, feel free to, put it on the community. So, yeah, that's that, guys. Thank you so much for joining today's session. Do have a great evening. Bye.